kind of how the tournament goes. We're off and underway.
Hey, here we go.
Ancient Lake.
And yeah, I haven't seen Blue Sox play in quite a while, so I'm curious to see how he does. Trident is the clear favorite here with having a 24 and even getting a 24 in one of his earlier races.
Very nice. Yeah, it looked like on lap 1 that Blue Sox opted to go for the time trial route and grab the extra bananas. Which
yeah,
is
on the
fine,
inside of that turn.
fine.
It's interesting because he ended up with 12. This is one race where it does seem kind of odd, just because there are enough bananas already, even with going through all the turns.
Yeah, definitely. So he gets a 44. I actually didn't catch Trident this time. But Trident enters this with a 24, I believe 24, 15, or 16. He recently PB'd on stream. Blue Sox enters with a 29.44, so there's about a 4.5 minute difference. Or, no, 5.5 minutes difference.
Yeah, almost a full trophy race.
Yeah.
Those two.
So we saw Trident there go for Canyon Hills, which is a trick where we'll see him do it here. He'll enter the cave after doing pond jump. He's going to do two
decent jump. He's going to do a quick double turn here, and there we go. He got that. That's part 1. Part 2 is getting a good landing, and he did. Getting a 19 lap, pretty good. The mid 19 lap even.
So Trident flying away here on Fossil Canyon, and Blue Sox is not doing the endless route.
He's going for a much more conservative strategy, which Trident finishing with a very strong 101.
Can't be disappointed with that in a race at all. Normally, I know Trident would not want a 101, but in a race, Blue Sox getting shot there. That is unfortunate. As we see. Yeah.
That is one of the big differences between the balloon races and the all trophy races. You got to deal with the CPU racers. Sometimes they like to shoot you. Sometimes they like to leave behind oil slicks. And sometimes they just lag your game by existing.
Yeah, or sometimes they do all three.
Yeah, usually all three.
Not at once, but we'll see oil slicks and mines come into play later. Trident with a 37 on Jungle Falls. It's a very short and technical track, and it's quite a thing of beauty to watch him do.
Yeah, so assuming he gets this out of bounds, he's on pace for a very strong Dino Trophy race, maybe in the 340 range.
Yeah, definitely. That's insane. So Trident getting the fast strat out of bounds, he grabs all the 5 bananas that you would usually see grabbed. He's on his way. So what he's doing here when he's going out of bounds is he's simply grabbing the checkpoints. There's 2 main checkpoints, one at that end of the trophy race and one down here by the finish line. Oh
wow, that was actually very close.
Yeah, he accidentally did an extra barrel roll, and I assume that there was quite a bit of tension going.
And Blue Sox must have missed his barrel roll input, because I've done that same thing. He boosted and just didn't do the roll. Let's see if he can get the backup. Okay, gets the backup, no problem. So
he gets the backup. He makes sure that he grabs that checkpoint, because when you enter out of bounds there, you're not actually guaranteed that checkpoint.
Yeah, you enter on the bottom left corner, and you actually need to still make your way to the bottom right to get the first checkpoint.
Yeah.
Trident, meanwhile, moving on to the first hover track.
One thing to note is that Trident finished with a 3. He ended hot top at 339, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, so depending on when he splits, that's I mean, regardless when he splits, that's an insane time to start with.
Yeah, and so he gets a 19 lap here to start well, babe. We're going to see him using the snaking mechanic in the water, where he's going to be turning back and forth.
Sometimes very small turns, but nonetheless, you want to be constantly turning. It make you go way faster than if you just drive straight.
And the reason for that... Oh, no!
Oh, I don't know. Wow, I haven't seen that happen in a long time. He got tripped up by the whale, and that is going to be...
Oh, no, and then he lost his balloon on top of it.
Balloon got overwritten, so he's gonna get a 55. Can't be happy with that.
No.
That's really the first mistake we've seen him make.
Yeah. Trident, I would say, doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. As in many of the top runners.
Very solid player. Anyone with a 24, and especially a low 24, you're not going to see too many big mistakes like that unless they're really going hard to try to get strong race times.
Yeah. So he's on Pirate Lagoon, which is, of course, that's primarily tests your boosting and your turning. You see here, there's a lot of series of tight turns, and Hover is pretty good at turning, which is why we actually do snaking, because you're actually gaining speed when you turn.
Yeah, if there's one advantage Hover has over other vehicles, it's doing those sharp turns. It's something that Hover can do very well.
Ooh,
and
Crunch stole his balloon.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He's going to end up with a high 54, and he's about one track ahead now.
So we can already see, like, a bit of difference in skill level between the two players setting in. And that just is not necessarily unexpected. Trident on Crescent Island. Oh no, he failed to...
That's interesting. He recognized that he was going to overshoot, so rather than bonk into the wall, he elected to go for the quote-unquote hidden path of going in through the top of the ship. So that was actually pretty quick thinking. Unfortunate mistake, but he recovered pretty well.
Yeah, I'd say that was either caused by TT not drifting back, or like you said, he overshot and he just made a really nice adjustment.
I don't know what he was thinking, but I imagine he thought that he was going to bonk, and that rather than that, he would rather take the slightly slower route to the top of the ship.
I would have to agree with you on that.
But he's finishing strong here. So.
Yeah, it's looking like he's gonna get about a 108. Yeah, 109. Very good time.
And Crescent Island, which we're seeing Blue Sox start now, is one of the more straightforward car tracks. There are no blue balloons at all. So, oh, he's going right. That's interesting. You usually don't see that in car.
No. It's a bit of a safer route, I suppose, if you don't feel comfortable with the boost. Because there's a boost, and if you end up going in the water, you can lose time. It's a pretty wide path. Trident messing up the connection to Treasure Caves. Treasure Caves is one of the most inconsistent balloon race tracks. Most top players just will end up losing a few seconds.
And he also overshot the balloon on the second lap, so he can't even go for it this time. So he is going to get looks like a 44. This track is infamous for being inconsistent. And the fact that in most PB attempts you do it close to the end of the run makes it even worse.
Yeah, definitely. Both players on Crescent Island doing a good job not missing that second zipper. That second zipper is notorious for having a bump texture, so you can kind of just drift right over it, because your car will be drifting, so you won't touch it or be up in the air. And so Trident's on Everfrost, the first inbounds plane track of all trophy races.
Nice start here. Oh, except for missing that balloon. But I was going to say, already having 7 bananas and not losing much speed. It does make a small mistake at the end of the first lap. But with a good banana count, you should be able to make that up.
So Everfrost is definitely a good track. So doing good. That's a big thing with Everfrost Peak, is that there's a lot of kind of backups in case you miss like doing what you would really necessarily want to do. There's a lot of blue balloons and places to boost. And barrel rolls are the main source of movement in
Yeah, you can see there Trident, he was going for the ground zipper. He missed it, but it didn't cost him that much time, because as soon as you see that you missed that, you can just use the blue balloon that you already have to avoid losing speed. And he's able to finish with a decent 103 time. Not as fast as he would get if he did all the boosts perfectly, but, you know, make still a decent run.
Yeah. So, Trident now on Walrus Cove. Ooh, he missed the boost there. That's weird. A lot of times those zippers aren't necessarily right next to the wall. They're actually a bit off the wall, so you can get caught.
Yeah, Walrus Cove, a long and very terrain-heavy track. A lot of the skill in this track comes down to not getting tripped up by the terrain and being able to do a pretty difficult chain of boosts coming up here, where you want to go through this tunnel, hit the zipper, and then boost into the blue balloon and grab it at the same time. So we see he didn't quite grab the balloon. It's very difficult to grab it and have a perfect boost.
Especially since a lot of times the game doesn't want to give you the zippers. The
balloon,
the balloon. You'll just go right through both of them.
Yeah, there's kind of a bullet through paper problem with getting things in this game, whether they be bananas, balloons, or sometimes mines, if you're lucky. Is that if you're going fast enough, the game simply won't register that you went into the object.
Yeah. So we can kind of get a feel for where a lot of the top players will tend to gain time on players who, they're not necessarily like bad players, but they're not quite as comfortable in a vehicle like Plane. So Trident got a 103 on Everfrost, and we're seeing.
Yeah, and BlueSox didn't really have any like major mistakes in this track. He's playing conservatively, and unfortunately, playing conservatively in Plane just costs you a crazy amount of time.
Mm-hmm. They still got a 126, which isn't a bad time for Everfrost. I don't know if he looked like he might have made one bonk at the beginning, but that was it. Other than that, it was really clean. Mm-hmm. Tried it on Snowball finishing up.
Whoa.
Snowball is a terrain-heavy short track.
Yeah, and we saw him do the same mistake in 2 laps, which is going just a little bit too fast through the valley, and it's so difficult to control your car precisely when you have that much speed and you're in the air. So we saw him bonk on the left side. This track is kind of similar in some ways. There's terrain and parts where you have to control your car mid-air. So one thing that some people might not realize playing this game casually is that not only in the plane, but in the car and hover, you can have somewhat precise control over your vehicle when it's in the air. So we're going to see that here when he hits this zipper. He's actually, oh, well, that's unfortunate. He hit the pillar. But you can actually use your analog stick to control your trajectory in the car, but it's very difficult to do perfectly. Even a small adjustment in what angle you hold can make your car sort of veer off dramatically.
Yeah, question was asked in chat about the music, and this comes up most times. The music, unfortunately, creates lag, and it's a good time to mention, especially with Trident playing Frosty Village, which is a big offender of this with the snow effect.
I love this level, but it's very laggy.
Oh yeah, same. It's grown on me. He's gonna get a 113. That's not what he would want.
He lost quite a bit of time from bonking on the pillar in lap 2.
Yeah. Bonking pillar and then ended up bonking in the cave as well. We're gonna see. Oh wow, we have BlueSox doing the time trial balloon grabbing strat.
Yeah, so that is a safer strategy. Getting the bananas, because if you go left on lap 1, you get access to the balloon and a slightly shorter route, but you miss out on a lot of bananas. So if you're going to play the game a little bit more slowly and conservatively, you're better off taking the bananas.
Yeah. So a nice jump into the valley. He grabbed the blue balloon and a pretty good job getting through there on Snowball. Meanwhile, Trident, a couple races ahead, is on Boulder Canyon. He's entered Dragon Forest with a nice 24, with a pretty nice 27 first lap. This is the final, and unfortunately only the 3rd hover track in Ultra races.
Yeah, the wave race player would wish there was more hover track.
Yeah, well, I am also a hover. Not only am I a wave race player, I actually enjoy hovering. in this game.
I actually enjoy hover as well. I do wish there were more
Man.
than 3, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I do think it's ironic though that once I got my feet into the game, I enjoyed hover the most. But I don't necessarily enjoy. This is really the only water hover track I kind of enjoy playing, besides maybe Pirate. Whale Bait kind of frustrates me, but regardless of my own preferences, Trident got a 116.
Yeah, that's
Boulder Canyon.
pretty decent. I mean, maybe he. Yeah. Anyway, he's on to Greenwood Village. This is actually my favorite card track in the run, and I think a lot of people like this track too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sharp turns and terrain, and it just feels fun to play.
Yeah, I like that we can agree on that. I love Greenwood. So a nice, maybe not as fluent of a S-bend section there, but he did take it cleanly.
Yeah, and you see him take the shield there, and it came in handy because this track is infamous for the CPUs putting down traps in just exactly the worst places. Right after you take that boost past the well, on the second lap, there tend to be mines and oil slicks there. So Trident specifically took the shield. He's actually going to do it here too, even though you don't really need it on lap 3. But he's going to do it anyway, just in case.
Yeah, at least not for that section. You did see there's 2 mines there, and that's another spot that they get put on lap 3. A big main reason for that is that I believe, and I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but some people like to say that when you use your items, the CPU are also inclined to use theirs.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, you can even hear it. Like if the CPUs are close behind you and you use a balloon, you can oftentimes hear them, shooting their bullets and using their boosts right behind you. So the AI is programmed in this game to use their items around the same time that you do. That's one reason why if you use the same strategies every time.
Oh, we missed talking about that.
Oh, yeah, I should have been talking about the out of bounds, which Trident just nailed. Got a little bit of a slow angle out of it, but the important thing is that he's out.
Yeah. So he had a nice clip. He did lose speed, but that loses maybe a second. It was pretty nice regardless. Windmill Plains out of bounds is widely regarded as the most difficult out of bounds, at least in ATR. And the reason for that being is not only is it difficult to clip out of bounds, it's a bit tricky to stay out of bounds when you get there.
Yeah, unlike the other 2 out of bounds tracks, Hot Top Volcano and Spaceport Alpha, it's much easier to mess up after you've already gotten out of bounds in this track. It's easy to either go too low or in the middle part of the track to accidentally clip back in on either side. But Trident having no problem there.
He gets a 105. Now he's on to Haunted Woods. Haunted Woods, the final track of Dragon Forest. Not a very widely loved track. It's very turn. It mainly can be based on how good you can connect those 2 last zippers, as well as using the first zipper here to boost yourself in turn and fly down the hill.
Yeah, you basically want to use that zipper to fling yourself down the hill like you saw Trident do there. The problem, of course, is that it's hard to control your car when you do that, and there's many places where you could bonk into things.
Oh no!
Oh!
His wheel got a bit caught in the terrain, I think. I
was going to say, I think his wheel got stuck for just a brief second, and that caused him to fly into the side. He's going to finish out the Dino Trophy race with around an 18:55, it looks like.
Yeah, that's not a bad end time at all for Dragon Forest. So he's going to enter Future Funland now, and enter first track and the most difficult track of, or widely regarded as the most difficult track, Space Dust Alley.
Yes. This track involves a lot of, similar to Everfrost Peak, you want to avoid losing your boost for as long as possible, but unfortunately doing that requires some very tricky navigation through these walls and many obstacles. Oh wow, I know, see even doing an extra barrel roll there.
Yeah. So I think Trident's got used to that. That barrel roll will usually grab you an extra banana, so now he has 10. I really like Trident strategy for getting the balloons there. He pretty much just like sticks his nose on the ground all 3 times there to grab the 2 balloons and the zipper. But you
Yeah,
can
this
still...
is going so well.
This is really good. A 23-second lap. It's a lot of times a lot of players start here at Space Dust Alley because you want to get a really good time on it. And so he does miss that balloon. He might... I don't think he's going to be super disappointed with this time. Especially because, you know, Future Funland being last. This looks like a 116 or 115. Yeah, 116 flat.
Yeah, the last lap wasn't quite as good as the first 2, but still pretty clean. And now on to one of the harder car tracks, following the hardest plane track.
Yeah.
This track is similar to Walrus Cove. There's the loops and lots of terrain. And there's this long turn here. It's the longest car track in the game. I wonder if he'll do anything crazy, like try to go for the out of bounds.
I don't think so.
We've seen some of our top players go for that in these races against the lower seeds, just to kind of show off. I don't know if Trident will do that here.
No,
it would be funny if he did.
So interestingly enough, on that, one of the players went for it. He got the clip intentionally, and he didn't. He ended up voiding out, and when you void out on the track, which you can do in plane as well, if you go too low, you end up back at the start line, and the lap doesn't count. So you have to do a whole other lap. And the other time it happened, the player hit an oil slick and then went out of bounds. Which...
Yeah, Rain Raider did that, right?
Yeah, Rain Raider did that.
And then he finished with it too. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was lap 3 and he finished out of bounds. It was pretty high. I think pretty much what happened was I think he was just holding right because of being on the loop, and that's exactly what you have to do when you clip out of bounds.
Isn't that how it was discovered the first time?
Yeah, yes, that is.
It was like an accident almost. It's like you hit the oil slick, and you suddenly are out of bounds because of the angle you're facing when you go into sort of the automatic boost of the loop.
Yeah. So here we are at Star City, second to last track. Tried it on very good pace at this point, it seems. Actually, I don't know. It's definitely 24 pace still.
Yeah, no, he's 24 pace. I don't know if he will beat the time. I don't know what his best seeding time was. I know he's got
24:53.
Oh, he's definitely on pace to beat that.
So, yeah, you're right. He's definitely on pace to beat that. So, Star City, you won't. Hopefully, we don't see Trident make the mistake of going off the bridge. He's done it so many times, but it has struck a few times in the tournament. But he's doing a great job chaining those balloons. A nice 23-28 lap. As we have
BlueSox finishing up Dragon. And now we'll watch him. And again, you will be able to see here sort of the difference in these two players' approaches. BlueSox will probably be taking it much slower in this plane track because it is so difficult.
So Trident's going to finish up with about a 113. So that's good. Yeah, he's well on pace to beat his best time. We have one last out of bounds. We have his Spaceport Alpha out of bounds here. Trident on mid-high.
Looks like to be a 23-40 something if he does well here.
Yeah, definitely. So he's gonna grab the shield, and grab this boost, and then he's gonna come up here, bonk on the wall, and get out. And there's only 3 checkpoints on this course. There is the top left here. Then you go down to the bottom right. So you pretty much just do a triangle.
Here. Yeah, you get out of bounds, and then you do this big triangle. And it's not this track is pretty easy to navigate once you're out of bounds. So
yeah,
at this point, it's pretty much sealed.
Yeah, he's gonna get about a 20.
24, 45?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's 24, Yeah.
24:45.
24:45 for Trident.
Excellent time for Trident, and that is going to beat his previous best run. So, in this tournament, so that will be his. Was this his last race?
No, he has one more race against Joe.
He has one more. Okay, yeah. So he still has one more chance to beat this. But even if he doesn't, that is a solid seeding time into the bracket round.
Yeah, I believe that's currently the 4th strongest time. I believe. Oh, yeah, I think he already had the 4th strongest time though, because I don't know if I don't think Rain Raider got a 24 in any of his races. I think he got 25. But yeah, solid time for tridenttail as BlueSox is in Darkmoon Caverns. He just entered. He finished Space Dust Alley. So you can kind of see a bit of the difference even in just like the speed at which they're kind of going. Trident was really just kind of throwing caution with his Darkmoon Caverns movement. Yeah, but being 4th is actually really strong. So this tournament itself is seeded by how you do in the bracket stage. So if this time stands as the 4th strongest time, then Trident would if he beats Joe D'Amelio in his next race, he will earn the 1st seed in his group, or earn the 1st seed out of the bracket. And if that time stood, he would actually get a bye into the round of 8 because of it.
Yeah, and I would say he is the favorite against Joe.
He is, yeah.
Joe, of course, also has a 24 and is a very strong player, but Trident has been on fire recently, so... And
Joe is definitely a bit rusty. He probably had a run that he wasn't so happy with against when he raced like me. But I think he'll rebound quite nicely against Trident and put up a good fight. So BlueSox on lap 3 here, it looks like he's gonna finish with about a 157, 158 on Darkmoon.
Yeah. Looks like that.
Yeah. It'll be close to 150.
158.
Yeah. Okay, so he's gonna do Spaceport Alpha now.
No,
he's actually... Oh, sorry, Star City, my bad. I was gonna say, if he's going... I completely skipped a track. I looked at it, and it just completely...
I know what you meant to say, yeah.
Yeah.
You would have been on PB pace if he was in...
I was gonna say,
Alpha now.
Yeah, I was just about... Oh my gosh. Oh wow, he's in the wall.
He's stuck in the wall.
He needs to... I was gonna say, he probably could have just took his foot... He probably could have took off the accelerator and let his cart reset there, but he kept moving, which was good.
He almost went off the bridge. That was scary.
Yeah, someone points out in the chat, this course, Star City is known as Toilet City in the Japanese version. That's like kind of his name, even though it says Star City when you do it. I don't know. That's just an interesting fact.
I didn't know that. I guess it makes sense with the sky and everything.
Yeah. So, BlueSox is not really making any huge mistakes except for the fact that he's doing a lot of...
But he is doing a lot of brake turns around the corners.
Yeah, a lot of sharp turns. He's not drifting quite as much.
Well, I noticed he's braking a little bit. He's braking pretty hard on some of these turns, which isn't really what you want to do because you end up doing kind of like an S movement instead of you want it to be more of a smooth transition between these turns.
So that example of the mine being there is exactly why a lot of players like to grab that shield on laps 2 and 3.
Right.
That's at the top of the bridge section. He finishes with a 136. So
he's on pace for looks like around a mid 30.
I would assume he does the Spaceport Alpha out of bounds, although I actually don't know.
He is playing on Japanese, right?
Yeah, so I figured he would go for it because of the Japanese cartridge.
But again, this is the first race we've seen him do.
Yeah, he's over.
I am not 100%. Okay. Oh, kind of taking his time to ascend, but no. Oh, no.
So that was perfectly lined up, like perpendicular
He
wise.
had a good lineup. I think he just waited a split second too long to press Z on the boost. I think he would have been fine.
Yeah, and I think he was also a little too far to the left.
Yeah. Someone's asking where's the music. Unfortunately, the music, as amazing as it is, lags the game and costs 10 to 20 seconds is what some people estimate in this category, which is a not insignificant amount of time to lose. So most people choose to play without the music. It's a shame because it's so good.
Yeah, here's attempt number 2. It looks like he's lined it up and he gets it.
Okay, he's out. All right, so getting
he's
lap
really... Okay, there he goes.
So okay, you gotta figure out where he's going here. There we go. So he gets the checkpoint.
Yeah,
oh,
he voided.
He was too low. So that's another thing that can happen here is that if you get lost out there and you go too low, you get reset back to the starting line. And it does not keep track of where you were in the lap when that happens. So you have to, oftentimes you'll end up in last place as you see here.
Yeah. So he's gonna opt to just go inbounds for the rest of the race, it seems. Honestly, that is one of the more difficult things about the out of bounds sometimes in Spaceport, is the textures don't always load. And yeah.
Oh, and apparently Trident was streaming with music.
He was. Oh wow, so Trident got a 24:45 with music on.
That's pretty amazing, actually. That probably would have been more in the 24:30 range than if he had been playing without music.
Yeah. But so BlueSox finishes with a 31:52, and it looks like someone's in here that should be BlueSox. Hello, BlueSox.
Hello.
So, GG's on the race. I assume you obviously weren't probably super happy with the spaceport there.
No, that was... I had... First 4 trophies were decent. I was actually ahead of PB, and then both Space Dust and Spaceport were just... disasters.
Yeah, and those
The FFL trophy is rough sometimes. Mm-hmm. But that's interesting to know you were ahead going into FFL.
And hello, Trident.
Hello.
Congrats on the win and GG's on.
Congrats on the win and on improving your seed.
How the hell was that a 24?
I don't know. I was told that you were using
let alone
music.
A 24, let alone an improvement on my last race time. I have no clue how that... I think the math somewhere is wrong.
Did you skip a track and we weren't looking?
Did I skip a track? Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe I have no clue how the math adds up there.
Yeah.
Because every track was terrible, except for the end.
Yeah, your spaceport was really solid, and your Star City was pretty good. I mean, I think you got like a 116 flat Space Dust Alley, which I mean, in a race you'll take it because it's like FFL last.
Yeah, I was totally happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of FFL was really good.
But yeah, I can definitely see where like you'd be kind of confused. It seemed like because EP, I mean, you managed to get a 103 on EP.
Yeah, that was fine, but like it just seemed like all the car tracks. Like I lost like 5 seconds to every single car track.
Oh man,
it was like really rough. Every single one.
And I'm told you we're playing with music.
No, I wasn't playing with music. I just had the music on in the background because I care about people.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was
very
nice.
Okay, that clears that up because I was gonna say that's pretty insane that you got that time with music. But you makes sense.
Okay, that's very kind of you, sir. So, I want to ask BlueSox. How are you feeling overall after your first race? Because, I know you and I will race on Sunday, and then you'll schedule with Joe at some point as well. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that FFL was just a complete disaster, but the fact that I was ahead of my real PB, not just my recent races splits going into FFL, is definitely good.
That's really good.
But yeah, a 150
that's really nice.
space dust is gonna end pretty much any run. So
Yeah.
And then it's so hard to focus in this game when you have such a disaster of a track like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, momentum can be a big factor. And there's no reset situations. But I mean, it sounds like if you do some attempts, you might be able to cut some time off your PB.
Yeah, I should definitely be able to at least get back down into the 30s, if not, get back under 30 again. But, all it takes is one little thing to go wrong in a race situation. Like, I got that clip on Spaceport and just nothing loaded, and I had no visual cues at all. And I guess I was too low, because next thing I knew, I loitered.
Yeah, you went really far towards the...
Yeah, he kind of went towards the center of the map.
Yeah,
and it seemed like what happened is like you were focused on trying to align yourself with the checkpoint and maybe couldn't tell how high or low you were, which can definitely happen.
Oh yeah, like as soon as nothing loads, you're
when
just
you have no visual
I?
cues, like you have no idea how close you are to voiding out, and it happens.
Yeah, it does. So this is Trident. No, Trident still has to race one more time.
Is that right?
But yeah, he does. So how are you feeling that your last race, both of your last race is against Joe D'Amelio? How are you feeling about that?
Joe's scary, man. Joe's scary.
Yeah.
A lot of people can be like, oh, Joe doesn't play very often. But Joe is a legend, and he's the kind of guy that I bet could probably pick this up for 15 minutes before the race and just like rock out an amazing time. So, yeah, we
were saying before, he's a little rusty, but it seems like a lot of people forget that he is a 24 player, and he's very strong. So if enough things go wrong and he has a great run, it could be very close. So
yeah, if I do the same thing I did tonight, I'd be shaking. I need to play way better than this. I wasn't feeling 100% tonight. I felt really sluggish and slow, like in my reaction time. So yeah, maybe it's just an off night for me, but I need to play better against Joe.
Yeah, I can understand your thought process on that completely. So that's it for all the races tonight.
Yeah, I think that's it for tonight. What do we have going on tomorrow? I think we have a few, right?
We do, yeah. Let me pull up the schedule.
Just one tomorrow versus Mono and Mad Scientist. But then quite a few races this weekend.
Yeah, there's 3 races in a row on Saturday. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, definitely tune in this Saturday. 3 in a row. We've got Obayo, and then Obayo again, and then Andy Panther racing twice. I haven't seen him play in a while.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see people from Obayo's group. There really haven't been many matches in their group. They initially had a filler, however, we did have someone join the tournament late, and so One Up Girls
girl joined. So
yeah, so she'll be the 4th member of that group. Looks like they're gonna get quite a bit of their matches completed. So,
well, do any of the runners have anything else to say before we hop off here?
Just thank you very much for the race, Blue Sox.
Thank you, Trident, and thank you to SpeedGaming and all the people who worked to put it together. There's a lot of people behind the scenes organizing everything to get everything together and line up all the commentators and everything. So definitely thank you to everyone who's doing some work to get these tournaments through.
and thank you very much to you, Thish and Helul, for commentating. I'm gonna watch this race back, and I'm gonna do some math and try to figure out how I got this time.
Your dyno was insane though.
Yeah, your dyno and your FFL were both very strong.
You exited 339 out of dyno.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
Well, the timer doesn't lie at what time you ended. You left the dyno domain. So.
But yeah, maybe you discovered a new trick, reduced menuing time. I mean, you never know.
But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for racing.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
So that's gonna do it. Thank you again to SpeedGaming. Thank you to the restreamers. Thank you for everyone who gets all this stuff done for us. And thanks to Bio for setting this up again. And we'll see you all tomorrow for more Diddy Kong Racing.
Yep. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.